Hi guys, and welcome to my channel Uncover to Cover. So my name's Jeanette, I'm 28 years old and I live in London. So I decided to do this channel because I feel like wherever you go you have YouTube videos on hair, makeup, fashion, and very rarely do you see any other topics talked about. So I decided to call my channel Uncover to Cover because this is all about people uncovering themselves in order to cover someone else. So it's all about sharing experiences. Like when you're younger, you always hear people say, you know, sharing is caring. And that's literally what this is all about, is are you willing to share parts of yourself to show care about someone else? For me, it's not easy to uncover. It means you're gonna be revealing scars, bringing up certain memories that originally you would have probably brushed under the carpet and never wanted to relive again. Whether it's talking about past experiences, whether good or bad, just revealing yourself a bit, uncovering yourself in order to help someone else, someone who's gone through a similar situation as you. I've been in a place where I felt like I am the only person that has experienced the things that I've experienced or gone through certain situations. I've always felt alone, like that's it, I'm the only one that's made this mistake, no one else has made it. And do you know how nice it is to hear someone say, I get you, I hear you, I've been there. So giving someone a little bit of hope, saying, do you know what, I've been through this situation before and I've come out of it, or I've been through this situation and no, I'm still potentially going through it, but I have joy, I've got peace, I'm happy. Just being able to give someone that little bit of hope who's gone through a similar situation. And I use the word similar because nobody shares the same experiences. We are all different human beings and no one is the same. So it's all about just remembering that someone else is going through something that, you know, you can kind of relate to. So that's all what Uncover to Cover is all about. My episode today is going to be on co-parenting. So all about two people who aren't potentially living together, maybe divorced or just separated for whatever reason, two people who are looking after a child but don't live together. So co-parenting. I feel like it's not talked about regularly at all. I even did a lot of searches on it and I was just like, why is there nothing on co-parenting? And yet there's so many people that are co-parenting. And it's not just about me talking about, oh, this is how you should co-parent. For once, it's not the negative side that you hear to co-parenting, which is the baby mummy, baby daddy dramas, which you hear so much about. But finally, just maybe bringing some positivity to co-parenting and showing that you can be successful co-parents. You don't have to have a difficult time co-parenting, that, you know, and yeah, there will be difficult times, but there is a possibility to make it work, especially in the Afro-Caribbean community. It's always come across very negatively. And so I kind of want to share a success story in a way, and it's not to say, you know, that this is the best way to do co-parenting. It's not to say here are 5 points to successful co-parenting. It's just sharing my experiences of co-parenting, and if I'm honest, it's been quite fun in a weird way. It's kind of, I don't know, it's a project. I see it as, it's a business. It's so and I love business, so it's kind of worked for me. But yeah, today I'm just kind of gonna try and structure it as best as possible, but as I said, it's more just me sharing my experiences. So yeah, and I hope that it will help some of you guys who are currently in that situation now, or are about to become a co-parent, or whatever it is. I just hope that it helps. So just to give you a bit of background, so I was in my last year of university, 20 years old, about to do my exams, and bam, I'm pregnant. I kind of did it on my own for the first year. At the year point, something just hit me and I was like, this isn't what I want for my son, because I didn't have my dad around when I was younger, and I knew the importance of having a dad because I kind of saw how it shaped my life experiences not having a dad present in my life. And I was just like, Jeanette, just let your pride down and call the dad. And we hadn't spoken for pretty much a whole year, and so I called and I was just like, can we meet up please? And we met up, I think in some McDonald's car park, and we talked it all out. We talked out our differences, we talked out everything that had happened, and we were like, do you know what? Our son needs us to fix up. This isn't about us, this is about our son. We talked about how we can make this work, and we sat down, and I think there were times where he came over whilst my son was here, and they kind of played, did whatever, and it would be short periods of time at first, and then it got longer, and then you kind of allowed them to take the child and all that sort of stuff. That was how I did it. Don't get me wrong, you cannot base how you decide to let the father start seeing the child on my experiences, because myself and the dad were friends for years. I knew him quite well, so it can maybe be very different to how you should approach it. So you've got to use your own wisdom, your own instinct, all that sort of stuff to decide how you do this. But that's how we did it, and eventually we got into a routine and we discussed doing this properly now. So we did a kind of 6-day, 10-day routine. So he would take my son on the Thursday evening and bring him back on the next Tuesday morning, and then it would kind of repeat like that. So it was kind of a 60-40 thing, or even almost 50-50 to be honest. A lot of people were surprised at that, because very rarely do dads even get to see the child every other weekend, let alone to have pretty much a 50-50 split. And people were just like, wow, Jeanette, like, that's amazing. And I think for a minute I did think, this is pretty good. Like, to have the dad so interested and so excited to have the child. Like, he genuinely enjoyed being with him, and he just always wanted him. And it was, I don't know, for me, I think part of me wasn't surprised, or like I didn't really clap too hard, just for the fact that this is how it should be. Like, I think a lot of people forget that, you know, we applaud dads for doing these things when technically it's how it should be. Like, it takes two to bring a child into the world, so why do we make it out like mothers are so much more important than dads? Like, I don't really agree with that. And at times it is hard for me, because I miss my son. Like, I actually miss him in those 6 or 7 days that he's not with me. But then I'm just like, I'm not more important than the dad. I'm not. Like, we actually are 50-50. So yeah, that's kind of how our schedule is. But children need routine and structure. Avoid doing this whole 1 day here, 2 days there. Do something that's quite longer term, and something that obviously works well for both of you. But try and get your child into a regular routine, because they feel it, and it can be a bit distressing for them, always having to pack their bags, always having to move from here to there. Get them into a nice routine. Although it's important for your child to have a regular routine and structure, I think that between you two, it's really important that you're flexible as well, because don't try and punish your partner for this whole co-parenting thing, where you're like, sorry, it's my week, when they want to take a child to see a football game, or they want to take them to a theatre. Like, be flexible. Like, it's not that deep. Like, just say, oh yeah, you can have them, that's fine. Let them borrow days or exchange weekends or whatever it needs to be. Just try and keep the peace. Like, I feel like a lot of couples or a lot of co-parents try to cause problems on purpose, and it's not healthy. Just be nice, like, please. Just be nice. If you can be flexible, if you don't need that child that weekend, or if you don't need them for that evening or that morning, just let them take them. If they're needed for like a party or a wedding, just let them have them, and keep the peace. Just remember that word, peace. The main thing that I would say to you guys is communicate. Communication is the most important thing when it comes to co-parenting. The dad and I, we had to get it to a T. We had to, because we could see that every time we didn't communicate, it didn't feel right, and the child would always end up suffering. Like, the dad and I, we pretty much talk almost, it feels like every day, but we talk a lot. We talk regularly, because so many things can happen at school, after school clubs, routines, etc. We talk about absolutely everything, and it's so important that you get to this place of just regular communication. And obviously, yes, everyone's going to have different relationships with their partner, but this is just me kind of, as I said, just sharing my experiences. Yeah, just, you know, keep them up to date, and don't ever see it as, oh, I know the child better than you do, and so, oh, did you know that they do this? Do you know that they do that? And it's like, no, just be excited to share what you've kind of discovered about your child with the partner. Like, don't see this as a competition, because it's not. It's teamwork. Like, as I said, you're kind of running a business in a sense. The other thing I would say is to always make sure that you're communicating through each other and not necessarily always through the child, because children can twist things up and change things, and tone is always important, all that sort of stuff, and a child can just misinterpret. The whole thing is not the best form of communication. So if you can avoid saying, oh, go tell mommy this, go tell daddy this, just pick up the phone and call each other to communicate that way, not through the child. And the other thing that I would say is one of the most important things is don't speak badly about each other to the child. That's just a no-no. It's the biggest sign of disrespect, and you do not want your child to start disrespecting the mum or the dad. Regardless how you feel about the mum, regardless of how you feel about the dad, the child should not know. The child shouldn't know how you feel about them from a negative standpoint. Yes, positively, feel free, but negatively, don't let the child know how you feel about that person, because the child will start to pick up on that, and it will cause a lot of problems when it comes to co-parenting and just your relationship with the child, amongst a whole lot of other things. So yeah, a big no-no, avoid that. Also, if you see the child talking about another parent a certain way, shut it down. Shut it down immediately. Tell the child, no, don't talk about mummy like that, or don't talk about daddy like that, and explain why, or try and give them a sort of understanding about what they may be saying, but don't allow your child to speak negatively about the other parent either. So it works both ways. So yeah, that's kind of what I would say in terms of communication. Another major topic when it comes to co-parenting is discipline. The reason why it's difficult is because everyone has different styles when it comes to disciplining, because we are all brought up differently, and a lot of the times we adopt that style into how we deal with our children. Some people might not, but a lot of us tend to go on kind of how we were brought up. So I would never say that you'll ever get to a point where you and the father are disciplined exactly the same. Very unlikely that would ever happen, but it is important that you do kind of align the way that you discipline, and try your best to have a similar style when it comes to disciplining. So some parents may choose to beat the child, others may choose to do the whole African style, like one leg up and you hold your ear for like an hour, or you have to count rice grains, whatever it may be, but it just needs to be similar, because the child picks up on things. So if they feel like, yeah, in one household this is how I'm gonna get disciplined, and then when I go to daddy's house I know that he's a lot stricter, so I need to make sure I'm on my best behaviour. Like, the child can't be able to play each other, do you know what I mean? Children are so smart, they know how to play the game, so you've got to show them that daddy and mummy are in control, that we are a team, that it's not about at mummy's house I can get away with this, and at daddy's this is what I can get away with. Like, no, you need to make sure that the child knows that if I do this, both mummy and daddy are gonna finish me. Like, they need to know. So just make sure that you align your discipline as best as possible. As I said, it will never be the same, but just make sure that the child has no room to mess about. And when I say align your discipline as well, that also means try and carry on some disciplines as well. So for instance, if my son did something bad here and I was like, that's it, no TV, no PlayStation, no this for 8 days, that doesn't mean, okay, now when they go to the dad's house, that stops. That should continue at the dad's house, and that really shows the child, okay, mummy and daddy are together, they're in on this, and I can't mess about. So make sure that you try your best to continue any discipline or punishment that you've enforced at one house in the other house as well. One thing that the dad and I try to do is, we understand that we are not a perfect family, but we are a family in a sense, and so we try to adopt this approach in making sure that our child is not aware as such that it's technically a broken family. And so we've always loved the fact that our child is happy. He is genuinely a happy kid, and he doesn't see this as a broken family. To him it's like, oh, I've got mummy's house, I've got daddy's house, I've got 2 homes, I've got a mum, I've got dad, and one day I'll have a stepmom and a stepdad. Like, he's genuinely excited. He feels like he's got this lovely extended family and 2 big homes. Like, he's genuinely happy, and we love that. And the way we try and make sure that we keep it happy is also by showing him that mummy and daddy are cool. Like, no, we don't live together, and no, we're not together, no, we're not married, and we never will get married, but we are cool with each other. So sometimes we'll just go out for dinner together, all 3 of us, or we'll go to the cinema, or we'll go for bowling, just trying to do stuff as a family to show him, rah, like, we are all cool. It's, as I said, like, not everyone will be able to do that, especially if you just genuinely don't get along with the dad. But if you can, try it. Like, I genuinely feel like it's helped, and my son loves the time that he has when it's me, his dad and mum. Obviously he would love it even more if we were together, but we have explained to him the situation. He's old enough now and he gets it. And that's another thing that I would say as well, is that a lot of people feel that they have to be with the dad because they've got a child. Like, I don't know how controversial this may be, but I don't believe it. Like, I don't believe that just because you've had a child with someone that you should be with them. At the end of the day, my thing is you can't give what you don't have, and you can't give happiness when you're not happy. Like, if being with this person makes you miserable, if you're not happy, if you know they're not for you, that will end up passing on to the child. Like, you will not have a happy home, and your child will not have a happy home. So I don't see how you being miserable is ever going to help your child. Don't feel like you're doing what's best for your child by being with the father. It makes no sense at all. Like, your child is happiest when you're at your best. So do what's best for you, and in turn you'll do what's best for your child. So that's how I see it. Is I'm not being selfish. I'm just like, do you know what? When I'm happy and I'm in love and all these things, my child will feel it, and he will grow up seeing how a kind of family should be, how a loving couple should be. But that's just my thoughts. As I said, you know, for some people they've ended up being with the father of their child and it's worked out good. For other people, I've not seen it work, but it is what it is. When I say that communication is important, I'm not telling you to tell the father or the mother every single thing about your life and make sure that they're aware. But it is important that you kind of just give them an overview, especially when it comes to money and things like that. Explain to them your financial situation. Say, do you know what, right now I don't have a lot of money, or right now I'm balling, like whichever it is. So they have a certain expectation, because if not, all they can do is live on assumptions. They will assume, oh, you're driving this nice car, you've got loads of money, so why don't you pay for this, or you should be doing this. Just be honest about your situation, your financial situation, your job situation, because when you tell them about what you're doing for your career, they'll know how much time you have. If you're running 4 businesses, they know, do you know what, let me try and take him this day, or let me do this. It's just about working together, and you can't work together when you have zero information. You need to let them in on your life and where you're at this point in time, which can change. And that's why, once again, you update people. Oh, by the way, I've got a new job. By the way, I've started a new business. It's important to let the other parent know about huge life changes or decisions, and big decisions about your child need to be discussed together. You should never make any huge decision about the child by yourself. Like, you two should be sitting down and discussing it. When it came to finding a nursery for my son, we both visited about 35 plus schools together. We both did the same when he went to primary school as well. When we're looking for an after school thing, whatever it is, like huge decisions about your child, whether they're gonna get a piercing or whatever it may be, like make those decisions together. Also, if you are deciding to potentially start dating again, I feel like just as common courtesy, it's important to communicate that to the father or whatever, the mother of the child, because it's all about just who's around this child all the time. Like, they're aware of the school kids that are around the child all the time, they're aware of your family, but someone like a partner, they are likely to spend quite a lot of time around the child, and I just feel like it's courtesy to know that as well. And you know, I think we had a bit of a funny thing, because you know, in culture you kind of get the child to call them uncle or auntie, so like I would be like, maybe to my son, oh yeah, this is uncle whoever, but then the father of my child was like, so when eventually they see you kissing uncle, won't that be a bit weird? And I was like, okay, maybe. So yeah, that's something I'm still figuring out, whether to tell my child to call that person uncle or just by their name. But yeah, there's so many different things, but those are the kind of stuff that if you communicate, you can talk about. One thing to note is, do me and the dad get on all the time? No, like, don't get me wrong. We have our moments, like, where I genuinely feel like I want to kill him. But when we have a problem, we make sure that we chat it out, and we chat it out quickly before it impacts the relationship with the child. Like, I hate when I hear people say that they're not letting the father or the mother see the child because they're not talking at the moment. The child should not have to suffer because you two don't know how to get along. You can't let the child suffer. Always remember, in everything, put the child first. They are the most important thing. So when we have a problem, we chat it out. If we have to shout and scream, whatever it is, we chat it out and we do it quickly, and then we move on. Like, we try and avoid texting as much as possible, because we find that that is an easy way that we can end up into an argument, because you can't see someone's tone, you can't see their facial expressions. Like, if you can, call or meet up in a public place, whatever it needs to be, and chat it out, but get it done quickly before it affects the child. Don't let your child suffer because of your relationship with the father or the mother. It shouldn't happen. If there's anything you take from today, it's that communication is key. It's everything. And just make sure that you're always putting the child first. They are the most important thing in this. So make sure that you're always thinking, okay, what is best for my child, as opposed to what is best for me. At the end of the day, co-parenting is not easy. It's a difficult thing to do, especially knowing that this person is literally in your life for the rest of your life now. But that's why it's so important to just make it work, because if not, you're literally gonna have 50, 60 years, or okay, 20, 30 years of hell. Why not try and make this as enjoyable as possible? Like, it doesn't have to be drama. Like, it does not have to be drama. So just try a way to make it work. Try different ways. Switch it up a bit. If you know what always triggers this thing that makes you guys argue, stop doing it. Just try and do what's best for you and do what's best for the child. But thank you so much for watching, and as I said, I hope it helps. I hope to do a lot more. Hopefully you'll get to meet my son in these videos. I hope to talk a bit more about being a single parent and loads of other topics. So make sure you stay tuned and like, comment, share and subscribe. But yeah, thanks for watching. Bye guys.